Hey everybody, welcome back to LetsNot, and welcome back to Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Crown Tundra. Okay guys, we're back in Sword and Shield with another guide video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be exploring the top 10 most broken, or I guess you could just say best abilities in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I do want to start off with a little disclaimer. I'm not going to be covering an ability if it only is on a single Pokemon. So super broken abilities like Wonderguard, Delta Stream, or any other super broken Mega Pokemon abilities are out for this video. I'm not going to be covering them, and just general Mega Pokemon, some of them have normal abilities and some of them have super broken stuff like Mega Kangaskhan and obviously Mega Rayquaza. So those are out. So let's start talking about normal abilities Pokemon have that just are too strong. And they're so strong that the Pokemon Company realizes this and sometimes decides not even to include them in future games. So let's jump in. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my box here, and we're going to take a look at some prime examples of Pokemon with some of these broken abilities. Alright. And no, we're not going to be talking about Gyarados. So yes, even though you can make a case that Intimidate is one of the best abilities in Pokemon, it does not make my top 10 list as being one of the most broken abilities. Alright, so let's start off with everybody's favorite ability, Levitate. So, for those of you who don't know, Levitate is an ability that makes your Pokemon immune to ground-type moves. So, on paper, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get the ability to ignore a certain type of move, right? Fine. It doesn't seem that great. Well, it gets a little bit better when you remember that electric-type Pokemon, like Rotom here, only have one weakness. So when we take away that one weakness, they become way more powerful. It allows them to switch into earthquakes and things that would otherwise kill them. It makes Pokemon like Magnezone playable, and Pokemon that are already very good, like Latios and Latios, even better. This ability is number 10 on my list, but the reason it makes my list is honestly because it was such a strong ability on a specific Pokemon named Gengar in the earlier games. And I mean, who doesn't love Gengar, right? It was such a strong ability on Gengar that Pokemon Company actually nerfed Gengar by removing this ability completely from its optional abilities. So it was so strong on one Pokemon that they actually took it off of them, and for that reason, it earns a space on my list. Now, Levitate's not the best ability, though, when it comes to gaining immunities, right? There are a whole other subset that not only gives you immunity to a certain type, but also makes you stronger. So one of those abilities that our Rhyhorn here is showing is Lightning Rod, but there are a number of them. Lightning Rod, Water Absorb, Storm Drain, Flash Fire, all of these abilities fall into this category of it is ability that gives you immunity to a type, and also makes you stronger. So for those Pokemon like Flash Fire raising the power of fire type moves, or Water Absorb healing your HP, any of the Pokemon that have those abilities are very, very strong. I mean, gaining immunity to type means you have a guaranteed safe switch in competitive Pokemon play and should never be undervalued or underestimated. So that's number 9 on the list, the whole Lightning Rod set. Next, we have Toca Kiss. So if you guys have played any competitive Pokemon, you're probably groaning right now at just how annoying fighting a Toca Kiss really is. And the reason for that is this wonderful little move here called Serene Grace. So the way that Serene Grace works is it doubles, yes, doubles the chance of additional effects happening. And here's why that's an issue. It's predominantly because of this move right here, Air Slash. So Air Slash has a 30% chance to make you flinch. With Serene Grace, that chance is pushed all the way up to 60. So the really toxic combo that we'll see players incorporate is they'll run Air Slash in Thunder Wave on a Toca Kiss, so they'll paralyze you, which is a 33% chance not to do anything. And then they'll also hit you with an Air Slash every single turn, which gives you effectively, it doesn't quite work out this way with the math, but effectively 60% chance to flinch and a 33% chance to paralyze, meaning that the vast majority of the time your Pokemon will do nothing and simply die to Toca Kiss and never fight back. So yeah, Serene Grace is really the ability that makes Toca Kiss what Toca Kiss is, and because it's so powerful, it does earn the number 8 spot on my list. I do think this ability, when used correctly and on the right Pokemon, is more powerful than having an immunity to a move. All right, guys. Number 7 on my list. Weather abilities. So the example I have here is Tyranitar, but the same goes for the other weather setters as well, with a slight exception for Sandspit, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So weather abilities are any Pokemon that can jump into a battle and change the weather. So this goes for Kyogre, Groudon, Tyranitar, Politoed. All of these Pokemon that have the ability Drizzle or Drought or Sandstream are extremely powerful. So in general, anytime in Pokemon you can get away with basically getting a move for free, like in the case of Intimidate or Sandstorm or Rain Dance, right? Basically, you're getting that move for free. And Weather was so powerful that back in the days of Pokemon Black and White, all of the top teams were either a Sandstorm team or a Rain team because of all these other powerful abilities that work with it. You've got Sand Veil, which increases your evasion as Sandstorm, Sand Force, which makes your moves more powerful, Sand Rush, which doubles your speed, right? And then, of course, you have those similar abilities mirroring in Chlorophyll and Slush Rush for all these other types of weather setters, right? So Weather was such a huge part of the meta, and even to this day still is a major part of Pokemon because there are so many abilities that work well with it, and it just plays such a crucial role in the way the game is played even today. So again, the whole suite of weather setters, with maybe the exception of Hail, just because Hail Pokemon aren't typically as good, definitely deserve a spot on this list. All right, number 6. Now, I bet you guys have probably never even seen this Pokemon before, but this is Pincurchin. He represents not obviously himself, but all of the terrain setters. So back in Pokemon Sun and Moon, they were the Tapus. So Tapu Koko, Bulu, Lele, all of those totem Pokemon. But now they have expanded this set of ability outside of those. So now Pokemon like Rillaboom, Indeedee, and of course, cute little Pincurchin here, all now have the ability to create a terrain as soon as they enter the battle. So terrains didn't used to be that big of a deal, but now as more and more moves are being released like Grassy Glide that only work with terrain, terrains are becoming more and more a staple in the Pokemon meta. So even to a point where now they have begun outpacing the weather teams that we used to see in this position. So that's why I did put them above the weather teams at number 6 on this list, because they are getting very, very strong. So anything with Electric Surge, Grassy Surge, any of those abilities, Misty Surge to a little less extent just because the fairy terrain doesn't do as much as the other ones. But yeah, these abilities are getting very, very strong due to moves and abilities that are added to make them even better. So keep that in mind. These guys are getting a lot better. This particular terrain setter is probably the worst of them all, but it is the most adorable as well. So that will take number 6 on our list. All right, so moving out of weather and terrain, we've got Prankster. So Prankster is just a ridiculously powerful ability. What it's going to allow you to do is any Pokemon that has it, and there aren't many, has the ability to give priority to a status move. So what this means is that if I have a Sableye, or a Grimmsnarl in this case, and I want to use Taunt, and I'm really slow, I am now faster than you, and I can outspeed you to Taunt. Or I can outspeed you to Recover, or I can outspeed you to Will-O-Wisp, and I can do all of these cool things that basically gives me an edge on you over battle. It's like all of my status moves are now quick attack level of priority, so as long as my opponent isn't using some priority of their own, I will always go first. Or there's also a caveat there. When Prankster first released, they realized it was a little too strong, so they did make Dark-type Pokemon immune to it in later games as a way of nerfing this ability. And any ability that gets nerfed, chances are it does belong on this list. So guys, that is Prankster. Probably my favorite example of a Prankster Pokemon will be Mega Bandit, even though I know technically Megas aren't in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So he has Prankster Destiny Bond, which means as long as you're playing against a pretty savvy player, there's no way to kill a Mega Bandit without losing one of your own Pokemon. So again, a really cool Pokemon and a really cool example of how Prankster can be such a strong ability in Pokemon. Alright, so next. As number 4 on our list, Huge Power. This ability is ridiculous. I mean, you guys can read it. Doubles the Pokemon's attack stat. That just straight up doubles it. So this ability is absolutely absurd, and it's one of the abilities that's given extremely limited release, right? Because any Pokemon that has this ability goes from being a 0 to a hero immediately. So Pokemon like Azumarill, nobody would use it. Nobody would touch it really, without the ability Huge Power. Medicham, another terrible Pokemon. It's got terrible stats, terrible stat distribution, but one ability can take this Pokemon and make it completely usable and a dominant threat in the meta. And we've seen Azumarill be at some of the top teams in Pokemon competitively for a long time, just because of this ability, along with a wonderful Water Fairy typing. So Huge Power, very simple to understand, doubles your attack, crazy good ability. All right, now we're getting even crazier on this list. This one's a little bit of a trickier one. So the ability that I'm talking about now is Libero, as well as Protean. So both of these abilities do the same thing, so that's why I am able to cover it on this list. They are exact clones of each other, so technically more than one Pokemon has it, guys, in case you're thinking, whoa, Cinderace is the only Pokemon with Libero. Nope, Greninja's got it too. They just gave it a different name because they didn't want Cinderace to have an ability that made it sound like it was a chameleon, right? Which, I get it. So basically what this ability does is it changes your Pokemon's entire type to be whatever the move that you're about to use is. So this move makes Pokemon very, very difficult to play. It makes counterplaying against a Greninja or a Cinderace very difficult because they're very fast, both of those Pokemon, and they can basically guarantee to switch their type into something that's going to make your life difficult, right? So if I'm going up against a normal type and I think I'm going to get hit with a normal type move, I can quickly switch myself to a ghost type, and then all of a sudden you can't hit me anymore, right? So that's the brilliance of Libero and Protean, is that they give you the ability to make this switch. Not only that, but they give you the stab bonus, which is the same type ability bonus. So for those of you who don't know, if you're a fire type and you use a fire type move, your move is 50% stronger. But since this changes your type before you use the move, you get that same bonus. So if I use, for example, Shadow Ball, right? I will change myself to a ghost type and then attack as if I was a ghost type using Shadow Ball. So every single move you use is going to be 50% stronger. Now you could argue that this isn't as powerful as something like Huge Power, but Huge Power is very one-dimensional. So it makes it very easy to play around, where this constantly keeps you guessing. So that is Libero. All right, so now we're into our top 2 strongest, most broken abilities in Pokemon. And where to go except Contrary. Contrary is absurd. So the way that Contrary works is that any move that says it lowers your stats does the opposite, right? So that includes anything that your opponents do as well. Like if my opponent switches in a Gyarados with Intimidate, my attack will go up instead of going down. Of course, this works both ways, but that's not really an issue for us because nobody really is going to utilize moves to make your opponent's stats go up, right? Outside of something like Swagger. Or to an even lesser extent, Flatter. But why this is so good is because you can use a move like Superpower. So Superpower is an incredibly strong move. It's got 120 power, 100 accuracy, but it comes with a huge negative drawback of reducing your attack and defense stat, which, again, that's really bad, right? So it's typically a move you use it once, then you switch out really quick because you don't want to keep fighting, right? But with Lurantis, it raises your attack and defense instead, so acting like the move Bulk Up, and still hitting somebody for 120 power. So basically, just by spamming Superpower over and over again, you can continually raise up your attack and defense until you're basically unstoppable. Same thing with Leaf Storm or moves that harshly lower your special attack. You can use those to raise your special attack up to extreme levels and then just proceed to sweep out the rest of the team. Right? So this move is incredibly good and should never be overlooked. It is a move, again, that is released on very, very few Pokemon. They understand exactly how powerful this move, so only Pokemon that really are pretty bad, to be honest with you, Lurantis is a pretty bad Pokemon, are able to get this powerful ability, and that's how the Pokemon Company balances it. They find Pokemon that are really, really weak and decide, okay, this Pokemon can have this ability and maybe have a chance in fighting at the professional level. Even with this ability, Lurantis is not a competitive threat, but because of this ability, it at least stands a chance. So Pokemon Company is pretty clever about how they release these abilities. And then finally, the most broken ability in all of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and most games it's in, Moody. So Moody is absurd. Basically the way that Moody works is that every turn one stat is lowered randomly and 2 stats are raised. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, that sounds fine, right? Because it's random, you don't know what stats are going to raise up. Well, let me tell you why this isn't okay. And the reason this isn't okay is because you can stall. And what I mean by that is by giving your Pokemon Protect and Substitute, basically what you can do is just continuously stall until you have so many stat raises that you can wipe the entire rest of the game. You can very easily 1v6 an entire Pokemon team by just stalling. And then if you hold leftovers, you can make even more substitutes. So basically the idea is I'll substitute, I'll protect. I'll substitute, I'll protect. And then after every turn, 2 of my stats are going up and 1's going down. So eventually my Pokemon will have maxed out of everything, +6 in every single stat if this goes long enough. And at that point, I can very easily just wipe your entire team. The absolute best user of this ability is actually Glalie, but Glalie, Octillery, and Bibarel can all have this ability. And again, any Pokemon that gets this ability, just like Lurantis, they only give it to really bad Pokemon. But even then, it's so strong that Smogon, the competitive Pokemon tiering system, has banned any Pokemon with Moody immediately into Ubers. It's such a powerful ability, and it's so annoying to play against that pretty much nobody wants to deal with it, especially on something like a Glalie, because for Glalie, you really only need to run one move, which is Freeze Dry, because Ice type hits so many Pokemon normally, and with Freeze Dry, you can be super effective against Water type Pokemon as well. So literally, if you go up against something like a Glalie, they can wipe your entire team. Octillery and Bibarel can do it too, just not as well. But again, this ability is so strong because one Pokemon can very easily take on an entire team that's not prepared to handle this, right? Because what really happens is either you get so strong and so fast you can kill everything that way, but basically you're also raising your defense stats a lot of the time. So if your defense stat gets too high and your opponent can no longer break your substitute, the game is basically over, because now you can start attacking them while having your substitute up, and then your stats will still be raising. And again, it really is a snowballing effect. Alright guys, so that's it for my top 10 list of what the most broken Pokemon abilities are. Again, not counting a lot of the unique Mega abilities. Of course, Mega Rayquaza with Delta Stream is just ridiculous, but I'm not going to be talking about those abilities in this video. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like this ability, like this video? Is there an ability I missed? Is there like an ability that you guys think is more broken that I didn't talk about? Let me know. Obviously, I know Wonderguard's a thing, but again, since only one Pokemon has that, I'm not going to count that one in my list. Alright guys, thank you again so much. Let me know if you guys want to see maybe what are the worst abilities. Maybe we'll do that video too. Alright guys, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, and happy holidays.